Hello everybody, it's Holger Mueller here from Constellation Research. Recently got asked, why don't you do any more of these airport videos? Well, I listen, here you go. In my stop in Houston for 1.5 hours before making it to the Florida Swamps for what else than SAP Sapphire 2024, I ordered my thoughts about the top 10 things to watch. So with no further ado, let's jump right in. What are the top 10 things to look at Sapphire 2024? Obviously, the number one, which is on the mind for everybody's thinking about, is our customers upgrading, right? There's a 2027 deadline. In my conversations last year with both Christian Klein and Thomas Sauer, who was back in charge of products, and this was a hard deadline. Customers will not get support for ECC anymore by that time. The reality is, despite Rise and Grow and whatever the next program will be from SAP, the bulk of the legacy customers, of the large customers, are not moving off ECC. And the question is, can SAP excite them with the announcements, with the things which happen at Sapphire this year, to get them going, get them moving? 2027, in my humble opinion, is out of the question. It takes at least 5 years on a lockstep plan for large enterprise to move everywhere they want to move. Number two, which is tightly related to it, right? SAP is the market leader for ERP. The question is, like, how does ERP work in the 21st century on top of what I call the infinite computing capabilities that we have accessible by now? And with that, I mean, and exemplified, it's no longer the finite system that most customers run on premises, which was sized to the demands. And illustrate this on the 3 peaks for sizing ERP, right? Which used to be payroll, closing the books, and running manufacturing. Now, we're familiar with payroll, right? In the 21st century, in infinite compute, you don't do a payroll run. What you do is every payroll relevant event gets booked to the payroll, and the payroll is always up to date. Think about it. You can do the same thing to a daily close or to a 6-secondly close. Every financial relevant transaction is immediately booked. Company always knows their status. There's no waiting for closing books or anything like this, or daily status or anything like that. And the same thing for MRP. You're always calculated. Something changes on parts, something changes on shifts, something changes on demand. You always plan for that. It sounds crazy in traditional thinking. Lots of changes of practitioners. I'm close to the HR side. It's become pretty much best practice on the HR side to have always on payroll. Everybody's looking at this, building this, because it's so much more convenient, so much more better. We can discuss it for the other areas in finance and manufacturing, not the expert, but happy to learn your feedback. Number 3, critical, right? And I haven't mentioned AI. And AI will actually, I think, help SAP to move customers to S4HANA. S4HANA is in the cloud. And AI, in my view, needs to live in the cloud because you have this elasticity to run things. And the tool to do this is, of course, the BTP platform. Is a BTP up for the job? They're a little more behind compared to other vendors who are easier, like look at competitor at Microsoft, at Oracle. They have their own AI in their own cloud. There's no compatibility. SAP had to create a layer in between. I had a great conversation with Philip Herzig earlier in the year in March about how this layer is normally created, and SAP can fully take advantage of the AI of the clouds they support, which is AWS, Azure, and of course Google Cloud. But it's going to be interesting how well SAP can position this, and it's going to be interesting how well customers will adopt to this, and will customers trust SAP doing their AI with SAP, or take the data out and doing something else by themselves, which is always the alternative. Number 4. There's a new head of products. There was a reorg earlier in the year. Thomas Sauer, we'll talk about this in a moment, is no longer doing product management. Mohammed Alam. And it's still early days, but I think he's past 100 days maybe, or it is in 100 days. What will be the impact of Mohammed Alam, who comes from Microsoft originally? Ran the spend management, which is Ariba, Concur, and having a brain clog here right now, third offering at Concur. Concur, here we go, 3 of the 6 sisters. Will this make a better integration of the spend management applications into S4HANA, which also now works for him? What view does he bring in as a non-SAP veteran, right? So only SAP veterans have been in charge of R3 or S4HANA. Now there's somebody from the outside. What could go wrong? What could go right? So it will be interesting what kind of impact will Mohammed Alam have on the overall application portfolio. Number 5, we have the same thing close and near to my heart on the HCM side with SuccessFactors, or shall I say HXM side, which kind of like got dropped, interestingly enough, with Dan Beck joining from a startup in this HCM space, but originally from Workday. early Workday employee from that perspective. What can Dan bring to SuccessFactors? Will there be a different message? Will there be a strong messaging of SuccessFactors at Sapphire, which was always like the dance between we have our separate event, our events are there, we really care for Success Connect. I think from a suite perspective for customers and for making it compelling to upgrade to S4HANA, the S4HR, whatever strategy has to be tangible for customers, usable for customers. Number 6, how is Thomas Sauhesig, former head of product, doing in the customer adoption organization, right? He has all of post-sales service, consulting, support, and so on. Is really the pressure or the focus is on him and his team to get these ECC customers to S4HANA. Now, it's early days. The organization is only available since the 1st of April, so it's still ramp-up mode, I guess. We'll see tomorrow. And the rest of the week, how far this our SAP organization, not sure what's officially called, but definitely has a better name than that, will be doing. So it'll be interesting to see, also to gauge for customers, do the other customers upgrade? Is there better support for me to understand what is the value proposition of the cloud applications on the SAP side? Number 7, what happened to SCM, right? The difference, if you look between Oracle, Workday, and SAP is really SAP's deep expertise and customer install base on the manufacturing side. Workday hasn't invented manufacturing. Oracle is getting better at manufacturing, right? So the vision of Industry 4.0, right, the 4.0 perspective out of Germany has not been leveraged to any extent by SAP with the customer base. I wonder if SCM, this might be the Sapphire where SCM might come out of its Cinderella-like sleep, or what's the fairy tale? I'm up to speed with my princess. My kids are older. What's the princess which is sleeping and needs to get woken up? I think there's the same state for SAP SCM. Maybe the Sapphire will be the case. Number 8. What does next generation mean for spend management, right? The same thing we could say for payroll, for manufacturing planning and execution, for financial close can be said for spend management. Spend management can also be up to date, right? I know all the time what the position is. It's more Madalam's former area. We will see who the new leaders are. We will see if integration into S4HANA is going to be better or planned better from that perspective, and see where that is going. So what's next for Ariba, Concur, and Fieldglass? And Fieldglass has been an under-leveraged asset, from my humble opinion, on the SAP side. So it'll be interesting to see that. Number 9, well, there's the other thing, right? As Salesforce is running, growing, maybe the stock price recently didn't do so well, but that's a different problem. And there's no competition from the ERP vendors, right? So and in the long run, they cannot afford to do this. So every Sapphire is a former CRM person, last century, well, this century as well. What is happening with CRM or CX as a little homage to my colleague Liz Mueller, who thinks it's CX. I still think it's CRM. CX is the outcome, but that's for separate videos, lots of videos to do that. And last but not least, right, Christian Klein and me always commemorate on the problems of our soccer teams. Be nice to Christian at Sapphire. His team, Erster FC Köln, has been demoted from Bundesliga. I feel very, very sorry for it. But if Christian hears this, I feel for him. But I also need therapy, because when the rival city team wins their 20th championship and from now on gets to wear 2 stars on their jersey in the derby, in your home derby, and becomes the 20th time Italian champion, I'm of course talking about Inter Milan becoming champion of Italy and AC Milan becoming second and doing exactly that traumatic part. That requires a lot of therapy as well. All right, sorry for the excursion to soccer. For the insiders that will enjoy that, I hope. These were my top 10 for Sapphire 2024 in Orlando. I think it's not going to change for Barcelona. I might rebroadcast this a few times. Let me know what you think I'm missing. Which ones would you replace? Of course, we can make a top 20 list. It's always easy to add. But which one do you think is more important? I'm sure I've forgotten something. Love to hear from you. Love to learn from you. And if you're in Orlando and see me, please don't be shy. Say hi. This is Holger Mueller from Constellation Research. Thank you for watching.